Okay, I'm gonna go on record and say the Pendulum squat is quite possibly the most underrated lower body machine in the entire world. This one here is one of the cheapest on the market. There's probably cheaper ones, but I would say this is like a value option. It's from Temple of Gains. I've tried a few of their pieces. They're a newer company and they are constantly trying to make updates based upon feedback. Let's review. Hey guys, it's Coop from Garage Gym Reviews. Today I'm reviewing the Temple of Gains Pendulum Squat. This is actually their version 2. Their version 1 I don't think they had out for very long. They're a newer company, but basically they're actually taking feedback from reviews and also people that are using it and improving them. And this, like where it's at right now, is actually based on all that feedback, which is pretty cool. Now, Pendulum Squat, the original is the Paramount Total Leg. I would actually say that the Paramount series of total machines, like the Total Arm, Total Shoulder, Total Back, if you can find it, Total Leg, those sorts of machines are some of the most underrated machines in the world, especially for home gyms. If you've never heard of them, look them up. I'd actually like to do a video on basically all those. They are amazing what they can do, how many different movements for the space they take up. But I don't think they worked really well because when they sold them in commercial markets, and commercial facilities don't want multi-function machines. But the Total Leg is the original Pendulum Squat. It actually wasn't even called a pendulum, it's just the Paramount Total Leg. And it is well beloved. It is very hard to find. People freaking love those things. And this honestly, in many ways, has a lot of features, and I would say even some better features than the original, and has some better features than some of the most expensive pendulum squats that are on the market. You kind of have a hierarchy of like your best pendulums, or at least most expensive. You have like your Atlantis, you have your Predator Strength. I actually have one of those on the way, where basically they partnered with Kaz from In-Win Education, and they have something that honestly, this has some features from, and it's like in a completely different price point, pretty funny. Then you have your Jim Lakos of the world, which are a little bit more compact and don't have the opposite arm. And I say all of these because this one actually borrows things and has features from a lot of those, even their like most expensive versions. Example, Atlantis, they have their basic pendulum squat. It's like $6 grand. And then you can buy the Pro version, which is like $2 grand more, that features an adjustable platform. It's ridiculous. This one has that built in. The Predator Strength platform has a movable on linear bearing guide rods platform that goes forward and back. So basically you can adjust it for whatever body type you have. It's very pricey. It's also like better quality obviously than this, but this has that feature, the ability to go forward and back. So, and they're offering it at a price that honestly is in just a completely different price realm than all of those. With one of the most expensive parts for all those machines is the price. On shipping, this one has free shipping. Now, one thing I think a lot of people are thinking through, especially when they're adding machines to their gym, is how much can I do with it? How effective is it? And how much space is it gonna take up? This one is very effective. It only does one exercise though, which is a little bit annoying. You could maybe kind of do some calf raises, but honestly, calf raises on a pendulum aren't that great, especially compared to leg press or hack squat. And it takes up a lot of space. So the reason you would have this piece is because you love building the quads. There isn't a better exercise, I think, for building the quads in a machine than the pendulum squat. They feel amazing. The weight offloads in the bottom and it gets heavier as you come up. You can get just uber deep, like the depth you can get on this. Even people that have really poor ankle mobility, like me that played hockey my entire life, that was strapped into a Kevlar boot, and literally this is as far as no, I go that far, but I don't have much ankle mobility. You can get incredibly deep with these. So one thing you gotta think through is like, what do I want, this or a leg press or hack squat, or a combo leg press hack squat? Personally, like just before I like tell you what I think it's this one specifically is, personally, I think I would rather have one of these than a leg press and a hack squat. Like it's just that good. And a lot of the other things I could just do with a barbell. I just love a pendulum squat. This one, from the construction, is pretty good. One thing I will say is the stability on this is a little bit lacking. They actually improved version 2 versus 1 on the stability. That's not really just a problem for this one. All those other companies that I talked about all have stability issues in some way. I would say of those ones, the Atlantis is probably one of the most stable. I'm waiting to use the Predator Strength, but this one feels, I mean, stability-wise, isn't that far off from, say, the Arsenal, which weighs way more and costs way more money. It's just kind of part of the problem with having like this long torque arm that you got a ton of weight on, both the front and the back, and you're going up and down, and it's on like a wide bushing platform. It's just something that you kind of have to deal with. There is a weight horn on the other side. It's what the Total Leg originally had. A lot of companies actually don't even use that. And actually you'll find there's a lot of, like at commercial spaces, most people just leave it off. Basically you're adding, think of it, it's like a teeter-totter, right? So basically you're adding weight to the other side to offload this side. Here's the thing, the highest resistance point is when it's completely parallel to the ground. So it's at the top of the movement. It's a declining resistance curve. That's one reason it feels so good in the bottom. So basically the further you go down, the lighter it is. I will say from like a stability issue, it's a little bit annoying, but it's also not crazy bad from others that are out there. Now, I alluded to this, but one of the things I like a lot about this is the fact that it has a ton of adjustability, and a lot of adjustability that you don't even find with other companies all in one. An example of that is the angled foot plate. They increased the size of the foot plate from 24 inches to 27 inches. It's definitely wide enough. Personally, when I'm doing pendulums, I don't like my feet super wide anyways. You're trying to hit the quads, so you come closer. But it's nice to have the optionality to have a little bit wider and a little bit taller than their first version. It does adjust. Having the adjustability is very nice. It's one of the reasons that a lot of people buy the Atlantis Pro is because it does have the adjustable foot plate. So basically you can get it exactly what you want, but it doesn't just adjust in its angle, it adjusts in its depth too. I think most people that have a home gym, what they would do with this is they would basically get it exactly where they'd want it, and then you'd leave it there. That's what most people would do. But it is nice because it's on bearings and it's got these pop pins on both sides with like these metal shrouds that are on top. So it looks more premium. I would say, like a lot of these, they look better in the renders online than you get them in person, but it's not like that vastly different. But when you adjust that foot plate, it's very smooth, you lock it in and you're good to go. It is nice. I will say though, because it's a pop pin, there is a little bit of movement. It would be nice if you could basically screw those in so it would just be completely stable. It's one of the nice things about the commercial units is although there may be some like instability on some of the pieces, generally the platforms are just extremely firm. So this one's firm once you actually get on it and put resistance on it, but it would be nice if it just had a little bit less movement on the footplate. The adjustment angles on the actual platform are more than enough. You can get exactly where you'd like to go. It's one thing, you know, they could add adjustments and it had like 2 holes, and then you're like, it has adjustments, but you can't really get the one that you want. You're gonna be able to get the one that you want, and it's long enough that it has similar leverages and similar angles as most of those other companies. One thing on this, and one reason they're able to sell this cheaper than say like an Atlantis or an Arsenal, is the fact that they have a loadable weight on the opposite of the Pendulum. This is actually what the original Paramount Total Leg had. Basically, it allows you to adjust how much weight you put on the other side. The Atlantis and the Arsenal both have a fixed plate on the other side. Personally, I prefer this option, because you can dial it in exactly where you want or not use it at all. But the other benefit to this one, which the Paramount had, the Paramount basically had an arm that came out and then would fold back. This one doesn't have that, but the arm that's on the other side is bolt-on. The reason that matters for a home gym is if you're trying to save as much space as possible, you could just unbolt that arm and then shove it all the way up against the wall into the corner. So you're able to save space that way. It's nice to have it if you want it, and then if you don't want it, you can just remove it, which makes it similar to kind of the space-saving version of the Gymleco, although a little bit bigger. Now, in addition to the adjustable foot plate, you also have an adjustable stopper that you can go up and down. You know, basically you can get as deep as you'd like, or you can stop it short. It's nice to have that. It's one reason that machines are nice, because like you can just drop to the bottom and you're not gonna worry about dropping weight or getting hurt. It is something that's adjustable, and if you're just trying to go to absolute failure, you can set it exactly where you'd like and then stop there. They did add a bunch of band pegs in case you wanna add accommodating resistance to the unit. So they've got basically 4 on the bottom, and they got some on the other side too. So you can actually add resistance to the counter side with adjustable resistance, which is kind of cool if you want to use bands on that side. They have weight plates on all sides, but one of the things that's nice about a Pendulum is you don't have to have a ton of plates around, because it doesn't take a lot of plates to get a good training in. When you are using the weight horns, the horns are chromed and they have rounded caps. They're pretty nice. It's more of a premium feature actually have that rounded cap. Most of the companies that are using the rounded caps use rubber. They're using metal, which is kind of cool, just easily go on, takes a standard Olympic plate, and you can put as much weight as you'd ever want to do on both the backside or the front side. If you want to offload some of the weight at the heaviest point and make it a more even profile, then you add more weight on the front. That's what the front peg is for. Now, the powder coat, fit and finish, everything like that, like it's what you'd expect for the price and the imported nature of the product. It's decent. Temple of Gains is a newer company. I think they're improving on some of their stuff, but they've got to really get to a really high volume before they get to the powder coat level of some of the other imported products that we see from companies like Rep Fitness. So the powder coat is okay. It's going to do what you want it to do. It's not as good as what you expect from like a Rogue, but it gets the job done. But the biggest thing that you're probably asking is like, what's the cost? So with free shipping, all in $22.50 right now. Now they say they have like a sale going on, but I've noticed they have a sale pretty much all the time. $22.50 like is pretty expensive for one piece that does one thing. So you gotta really decide that you want pendulums, and you gotta really decide that you want to take up that much space. But when you compare it to all the comparable pendulum squats that are on the market, it's still like less than half the cost of basically all the other ones that are out there. I think your best option for adding a pendulum to your home gym is really this. Number one would be to buy a used version on Facebook Marketplace if you can find them. They're very well loved though. People know they're well loved, so they don't sell them for very cheap. And most commercial gyms don't even have them. Or if you go to a commercial gym, they have a pendulum squat, it's probably a good gym. You're not gonna find one of these in Planet Fitness. I don't see a lot of budget pendulums. There's another one from Fettle Fitness, and there may be a couple other companies. If you'd like to see me review them, let me know in the comments and we'll pick them up so I can compare them. But if you want a pendulum, this is really the option. And it's actually a pretty dang good option. I wish they would improve on some of the stability, just some of the fit and finish features. There could be some more knurling. Why not add knurling? That would be cool. But overall, for the price, when you compare it to commercial options, how big it is, how much weight it is, when you factor in that they're offering free shipping for it too, I think it's a pretty good price. Now, if you're wondering like, hey, I want a pendulum, but what else is gonna be coming out? Should I be waiting for whatever else, bigger companies like Rogue or Rep that are in the home gym space creating? I don't think there's enough volume or interest in the home gym community for single-use machines. I definitely see them for leg extensions, leg curls. I think it's increasing in the home gym market, but man, the amount of R&D and cost and everything like a company like Rogue or Rep would have to put into because they want like a specifically engineered machine, I don't know if it would be worth it, but I would foresee more companies like a Bells of Steel, Fringe Sport, some of those companies coming out with options. I'm pretty sure Bolt Fitness, do you guys know if Bolt Fitness has one? I'm pretty sure they do. So you'll have more companies that come out with them, which will increase innovation and drive down costs. So you could definitely wait, but in the foreseeable future, I don't expect a ton. So what do you think of the pendulum squat? Would you add one to your gym for how much space it would take up, or would you go with like a leg press or a hack squat first? Let me know in the comments. It's been cool. Congratulations. I'll see you next time. Peace.